Sent to one of the UK's deadliest prisons, Cain Burgess stood there alone. To them, he was just another weak man in a prison full of wolves. The moment he walked in, they tested him, punched him, spit boiling coffee on his face until his teeth spilled onto the floor. But what they didn't know was that this quiet man used to snap bones for money. And inside these walls, they didn't break him. They built something worse. They turned Cain into a brutal, psychopathic killer. A few years ago, when Cain was a struggling boxer, he went to his brother Lincoln asking for money to start a business. Lincoln agrees to lend him the money if he does a job in return. With no choice, Cain accepts without knowing what it is. Steal a plastic bag from a poor woman and return it to the office. Unaware of the consequences, Cain does the robbery. The woman desperately chases after him like her life depends on that bag. The chase continues until she's hit by a car. And Cain, stunned by the scene, is immediately arrested. He meets Detective O'Hara, an elite detective who has spent years keeping an eye on his brother. During this meeting, he's informed that his brother runs a dirty loan business. The detective asks Cain to give up Lincoln, but even knowing these evil actions, Cain refuses and sticks by his brother. He's introduced to Sergeant Evans, a corrupt cop who tortures suspects for confessions. Cain is severely beaten by Evans, and despite resisting with tied-up hands, Evans's hard punches eventually knock him unconscious. He ends up in Belmar prison, known as the Meat Grinder. With no criminal record, he faces many challenges. On the first day, he's attacked by a strong man for no reason. After a massive fight with other inmates, they finally catch him and ruthlessly break his front teeth. He gets metal dentures, which he kind of likes because they make him look extremely dangerous. His mother visits and informs him that Lincoln blames him for his imprisonment, so he won't take any action. Upon hearing this, Cain feels his loyalty to Lincoln was pointless and that his brother had abandoned him. Days pass with no word from Lincoln, no meetings, calls, or letters. Cain realizes he's all alone and must stand on his own. During imprisonment, he's frequently attacked by other inmates, never knowing their motives. He has no choice but to defend himself, so he starts a challenging training program to prepare for upcoming attacks. On a regular day in the prison yard, he gets into a fight with two prisoners. Thanks to his hard training, Cain easily knocks the duo down with a few punches. After severely beating them, the brutally beaten inmate reveals something shocking. His brother has set a 20,000-pound bounty on his head, making it clear this is the reason for all the attacks.
Enraged by hearing this, he now has a reason to live, the desire to exact vengeance on those who brought this disaster upon him. Prize money lures more prisoners daily, but Cain's motive and power increase as their numbers grow. Each fight results in wounds, additional sentences, and days in solitary confinement. To kill Cain, prisoners use every available tool. Prison-made napalm that partially burns his face. Cain slowly turns into a bloodthirsty monster who can't even recognize himself. A person whose only objective is survival. He shows no mercy to anyone. Even prison guards are vulnerable to him. After 3 years imprisoned, his mother visits with devastating news. She has pancreatic cancer and won't be able to see him much longer. Collapsed by hearing this, Cain can't explain to his mother what a terrible thing Lincoln did. Later, Detective O'Hara visits Cain in the prison hospital, where he's being treated for one of his regular conflicts. In this meeting, it becomes clear that Sergeant Evans, the corrupt officer who brutally tortured him, was one of Lincoln's spies working for him. O'Hara tells Cain he had Evans fired once he discovered this, and asks him again to give up Lincoln. This time, Cain agrees in exchange for one last meeting with his dying mother. Being escorted to the hospital by a high-security team, Cain arrives to find his mother has just passed away. If he'd arrived earlier, he might have said goodbye. In the elevator, he surprises the guards and brutally beats them with shocking speed. He escapes through the hospital back door. Cain enters a private bar after easily knocking down the bouncers. During conversation with talkative bartender Bez, he introduces himself as a member and asks for beer. While sipping his drink, he overhears gang members discussing the recent murder of their member Rook. One gang member describes how someone with an axe severed Rook's hand while they were selling drugs. When Cain mocks the storyteller Ton for being a coward who ran away, the entire gang prepares to fight, until Cain reveals he's actually the maniac killer they fear. Bez starts screaming, telling Cain he must leave immediately. The awakened bouncers enter and attempt to beat Cain, but he overpowers them in seconds. Pulling out a double-barreled shotgun, he shows them how dangerous he can be, taking the gang hostage and demanding Lincoln's location. Instead, he gets Hyde, Lincoln's most trusted assistant who remembers Cain and introduces him as the boss's brother, who made a mistake and ended up in prison. Hyde isn't afraid to mock Cain's facial scars. When a bouncer attacks, Cain shoots him in the kneecap, shattering his leg. As the man screams in terror, Cain kicks him unconscious. To prove he killed Rook, Cain shows them the severed hand in a plastic bag. After beating Hyde, Cain blames him and Lincoln for his imprisonment and orders him to call his brother. When Lincoln arrives with 3 men, surprised to see his brother, Cain disarms them and sends them to join the gang. Lincoln eventually admits he had no choice but to put the bounty because his spy, Evans, discovered Cain was planning to snitch. Cain reveals Evans was given false information and that he recently killed the corrupt officer with a hammer blow to the head. When Lincoln tries to justify his actions, saying, "Prison's turned you into a fucking psychopathic killer," Cain's response cuts deep. "Prison didn't, you fucking did." Cain ignores Lincoln's promises of a fresh start and shoots Hyde, brutally cracking his head. Lincoln discovers only 1,500 pounds remains in his account. Cain had also visited Stokes and forced him to donate 2.2 million pounds to Lincoln's lone victims' families. Lincoln thinks Cain will die since there are only 2 bullets left for 10 gang members. However, Cain says he only needs 1 bullet for Lincoln. When Bez attacks Cain from behind with a bottle, it sparks a fierce fight. Cain immediately shoots one gangster in the chest, but is quickly attacked by others and disarmed. Unable to fight Cain hand-to-hand, the gangsters throw glasses and bottles until Bez gives them iron rods, hammers, and knives. Even these weapons are useless against Cain's combat skills, and they're beaten one after another. Ton runs away scared but returns with a submachine gun, shooting wildly at Cain. None of his shots hit, and after accidentally killing his own gang member, Cain takes the gun and slaughters more. The remaining fighters attack with kicks, punches, and knives, but are killed one by one in horrible ways, some by broken arms and head strikes, others by throat biting and stabbing. Only Bez, Lincoln, and Cain remain. Lincoln points a shotgun at Cain, admitting he put the bounty simply to protect his reputation among criminal partners. He pulls the trigger but finds no bullets left. Cain, knowing it was empty, snickers at his brother. Lincoln lashes out with a knife Bez gave him. A classic knife struggle ensues, and Lincoln is finally punished for his evil actions with a fatal stab from his brother. When Bez realizes what happened, she desperately says, "You've really fucked the duck now, this time. There's no coming back from that." But Cain's chilling response reveals his complete transformation. "Maybe I don't want to come back." Cain leaves Bez with the corpses of those she served for a lifetime. At the end, we see one of Lincoln's victims surprisingly checking his account balance, showing Cain has partially made up for his brother's misdeeds. What did you think of Cain's transformation? Let me know in the comments below and share which movie recap you want to see next.